Hello, Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning and one of your co-hosts to the Do or Do Not podcast. And this is
Casey's better half, Bradford Neal Erie.
I don't know if I like the way this podcast
We're
is
starting it off right.
Just because your knees are all scraped up from your other male friends doesn't mean that I'm your partner.
No, this was athletic victory.
Oh,
That's what these knees represent.
Yeah, Brad's knees look like somebody, he was down on the cement in the Castro district taking care of business.
Mama didn't raise any losers. All right. We dominated the Kaiser family volleyball competition, Camp Sacramento.
What's up? That Brad's knees are pretty jacked up.
Yeah.
So he missed a workout this week because they're so jacked up. But he's going to be in tonight.
I am.
You know what we're doing tonight?
Better not be running.
It's not, but you got to use your knees will probably have to be used a little bit.
Oh, no way.
Burpee Palooza.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Well, might be calling in sick.
Oh, it'll be fine. It's only about 60 to 65 burpees mixed in with all the exercises.
It's like 2 minutes.
5 burpees after each exercise is Burpee Palooza. So you do an exercise, 5 burpees. On to the next exercise, 5 burpees. So add it into everything. A lot of fun. Everybody really loves it. When they see it on the board, they all get really excited.
Ooh.
I have heard some cuss words this week.
Oh, I'm sure you'll hear some more.
All right. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about, not much because she's not really worth talking about, a little Kathleen Kennedy, a little book review of The Outbound Flight.
Yeah.
Since you haven't watched very much Bad Monkey, we won't talk about that. Rings of Power comes out. We're going to talk about how excited Brad is to watch it.
So excited. I've read the reviews.
I mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier, and he started rubbing his crotch. I don't know if that's how excited he is.
Got the scraped knees.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk senior fitness. So you don't have to be young to get in shape and get healthy. So we're going to talk about those subjects today. Let's talk a little Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, before, what age would you consider being a senior? Because we're both men over 50. I already get
65 and over. I still, even though I don't know what the other thing that made me think about it is if you think about the men that were our age when we were kids, they were a different 50. Yeah. Have you seen all the memes out lately? I don't know what it is about these. There's memes showing like Wilford Brimley and Gwen Stefani are the same age right now when he did Cocoon.
Yeah.
And what Gwen Stefani is.
Yeah.
You see a comparison, same exact age.
Crazy. Or if you look at like the actors of Cheers and what they were during the show, like Norm,
Carol Connor compared to like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all the same age now, but everybody looks younger because these people are taking care of themselves. They're not living unhealthy lifestyles. They're not smoking. They're not drinking.
I mean, I'm 73.
They're doing anti-aging, which is another thing I was going to talk about as part of senior fitness is the anti-aging aspect of fitness, working out, eating right, not doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
If you drink a 6-pack a night, your skin's probably going to get bad. You're going to gain weight. You're going to have a beer belly. You're going to look like Archie Bunker from All in the Family instead of like Brad Pitt. You're going to look like Wilford Brimley instead of Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy. Like, keep an eye on, I don't know if it's a popular thing going on right now, but everybody's showing these stars from the 70s, 80s, and even 90s.
Yes.
And then compared to like today's actors and singers that are the same age as they were, and they show pictures of them, and you're just sitting there going, and then I think back and I go, I think of some of my dad's friends. I played softball when I was 13 years old. I was able to play on the men's team.
Yeah.
And I was a really good baseball player. So I got to play in the men's team and I played quite a bit. But I was playing with guys that were in their 40s and 50s. And I thought about how old they were and what they look like. And then
now look at us.
And like, I'm 51, baby, you know, and I'm like running Spartan races. I'm able to do, you know, very similar exercise and fitness stuff that I was able to do when I was like 31 and 41. I mean, I don't do as heavy weights as I used to do back then, but I still do the same exercises, same range of motions. I can still do the splits. And I think about those guys, and it's like, I remember a couple times them injured themselves running the bases.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, running down to first base, trying to beat out a grounder and pulling a hammy, you know?
I would like to say the same type of things, but I still will wake up some mornings hurt because I slept wrong, and that's how I know I'm old.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, there's still that's going to happen. There's going to be aches and pains that happen. You're 51. You have 51 years on your body. So do I. But, you know, when you're working with people, so that's what we're going to talk about, senior fitness type stuff.
Right up my alley.
Kathleen Kennedy, you sent me a thing saying, well, I forget which report it was.
It was a report that she's going to be with I don't know them until at least the second quarter of 2025.
Yeah. So the rumors were always that she was going to be gone by May of this year.
Yeah.
Her contract was supposed to be up by May of this year, which we don't know all these things. I mean, I don't work for Disney. I don't know what her contract looks like. That's their business. We just want her gone. But it looks like she's going to be around for another year. You think that after another miserable failure of something that she put into play, she's the one that gave her the green light to Lindsay Headland on the Acolyte. You think that after so many failures that people in the Disney board would go, all right, Lucasfilms needs a new head.
Yeah.
But they're not, it's like in our government. These people do things and they get people killed. They screw the economy up. They break laws, and we know they're breaking laws. We know they're lying, like Joe Biden hasn't been senile for the last 3 years, and they lie. And nobody's getting held accountable. And I guess Disney, you would think the board and their shareholders would hold them accountable for these failure after failure after failure, but they're not. I know they're searching for Bob Iger's replacement, but he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to come back anyway.
No,
he came back because he cared about Disney, is what he said. I don't know how much money they paid him either. Bob Chapek.
The other guy was driving Disney to the ground, and he's like, okay, ready to ship.
Well, the other guy really didn't want the responsibility, is what it seemed like. From all the readings, is like, he did not like Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Chapek, and that's why I liked him. I was like, all right, this guy does not like Kathleen Kennedy, but I don't know what the deal is. But Iger came back to help save the company, and he hasn't done a very good job.
No.
But the board, you would think, would want to get rid of somebody like Kathleen Kennedy. She's a failure. If you look at when Disney bought Star Wars and look at the successes and the failures, if you were hitting a batting average, you got Rogue One, that was a success.
What was that?
Mandalorian is a success. Andor.
Mandalorian, she wasn't really involved in, right?
No, that was more of a Filoni Favreau thing, but she was still in. So if you're going to give her, but you got to do is, if she's the head of the thing, she's not doing everything.
Yeah.
But look at just the 3 failed movies, the sequel trilogy, which was all on her. You can say, well, this director did this and this. She from everything I heard that was going on, and I don't know because we're not there, we're not inside, but you can read the tea leaves and have common sense when people are saying certain things, and people behind the scenes are saying she's coming in and monkeying with scripts and saying, no, we don't want this. No, I don't want this. We don't want any Skywalker stuff in here. We want to get rid of the Skywalkers. Wait, I don't want to do this. If you do this, that would be like the original Obi-Wan play, like screenplay for the movie. It was going to be a movie before they made it into the series. Sounded amazing. The Skeleton Crew, they were going to have a bunch of stuff in there that transitioned from Ahsoka into there. And from the Mandalorian season 3, there was going to be little tie-ins. They got rid of all those things. They cut the Mandalorian down in season 3 from 12 episodes, which Filoni and Favreau wanted. She came in and said, you got 8. The budget only indicates, well, let's give $180 million to Acolyte, but your budget's going to be cut back on the Mandalorian season 3, and you're not going to be able to do all the stuff you want to do because I don't want it to interfere with those.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's a horrible failure. Her batting average is probably 150, 200 of everything that you would really consider real successes, like Star Wars success.
Yeah.
You know how much those movies are? When you look at the top 10 movies all time, revenue-wise, I mean, there's been a lot of movies that have come out recently, and remember how you have to pay a whole lot more to get the movie theater now.
Yeah.
So when you're talking dollars to numbers, but those original 3 are right up there with any movie series. If you go dollar for dollar, how much was paid in those things?
How many tickets sold?
It's right up there. And then the sequel trilogy, horrible pieces of shit. And that's her main claim to fame, is that sequel trilogy should have been her success story. And it was a failure. It was an utter failure in everything since, besides a few things.
Yeah.
And those things seem to have been ushered in by other people that really had a great creative view and were given some autonomy.
Yeah.
So I don't know why she's going to be around till the first or second quarter of 2025, but it's a failure on the Disney board's part. Have some balls and make a decision and turn your company around. Disney board, you need to get a new leader of Lucasfilms. Bottom line.
You cowards.
If we failed that much, I wouldn't be in business right now if I failed that many clients.
I know it, man. Can you imagine?
If your wife, who's a doctor, if she had failed a bunch of patients, would she probably get canned?
If 8 out of her 10 patients died or had
or got infections or stuff, and they came in and go, "This is a dirty piece of crap that you're running out of here." It's just everything in life. It seems like in government and in Hollywood, nobody's being held accountable.
I'll tell you, you go government, I'll go Star Wars.
Well,
Okay. Well,
I don't want to get into. I don't want to get into government too much because this also relates to my business, and I have liberal clients and conservative clients and middle of the roaders and people that don't give a crap about. And so I try not to dive too much. I'm a conservative libertarian.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like progressivism at all. I don't like wokeism at all. I think it's all
Would
bullshit.
you consider yourself
but
a Rogan?
I'm not going to. No, I would just consider myself a middle of the road conservative person.
Yeah.
From back in the day. Yeah. Just like Democrats now, the people that were Democrats back in the 80s and 90s would be considered Republicans now.
Yeah.
That's how far one party has moved. And the Republicans, the hardcore conservatives, would be considered radicals back then.
Yeah.
And they have to go in the middle of the road now. It's just the whole thing. There's no accountability. When people screw up, there's nobody getting fired.
Yeah.
You know? Was anybody fired when 13 people were killed in Afghanistan at the Abbey Gate incident?
You talked me into it.
No?
I will be president.
You would do better than Joe Biden. He can't even probably tell you what his son's name is. Your mom is going through these same problems, correct?
Yep.
Some days you remember stuff. So you recognize I've been around Alzheimer's patients. I've been around people that have dementia.
Yep.
Joe Biden's had it for a long time. We all know he probably got elected with it. It was more mild, but it's gotten worse and worse with the pressure and the strain of the job. Does anybody think that guy's making decisions for this country? If you do, you're a complete moron and I won't even listen to you.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope he's not. Let's hope the cabal. Let's hope behind the scenes there's all the... Anyway, we're getting too political.
I think if I was president, I'd outlaw burpees. Okay, that's my platform. No more burpee manias. Okay,
no more burpee paloozas.
No more, no more burpees.
So anyway, I would like some accountability. Disney board, fire Kathleen Kennedy immediately. Get rid of her. Don't let her screw anything else up. I understand that Dave Filoni has creative control, as the chief creative officer. But if she's in charge and writing the checks and she's trying to manipulate situations, it's not good for Disney. It's not good for Lucasfilms. It's not good for us Star Wars fans. We need to get anyone who does not like the vision that George Lucas had out of there. Can you do variations? Can you do a skeleton crew that doesn't have any Skywalkers or anything in it and make a really good show? I'm hoping. But we saw the Acolyte was a pure piece of shit. So
I think she should take all of her good ideas and start her own universe.
That's what she plans on doing. She already was going to start up her whole to compete with Star Wars and Star Trek, her own production company. But nobody's going to watch their crap because it's horrible.
I love also.
It's going to be Acolyte Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. That's what her stuff's going to be. It's going to be a bunch of horrible to watch, poorly written, woke crap.
If the Acolyte had nothing to do with Star Wars, let's say instead of Jedi, they were some religious cult, and it was completely different, I might have liked it. But what I don't like about it is when they're trying to take something that I grew up loving and making it different than to fit her vision instead of her vision fitting George's vision.
Yes. She wants it to be hers because she cares about her ego.
And make the stories good, and I'll like it. I'm a sucker for all sci-fi.
I love good sci-fi, and Star Wars is the best, in my opinion, the old Star Wars, and we'll transition right into Outbound Flight.
I haven't started it yet.
All right.
I just finished.
So it's been a whole week.
Zombie.
Oh. See, this is the problem with Brad. You got all these amazing Star Wars books that you can just start and just go and go and go, and he's doing zombie shit.
All right. Let me tell you about myself. There's two pillars.
Zombies. God.
Sci-fi and post-apocalyptic downfall of man. Helldiver series, fantastic. This is centuries after a devastating.
It could be post-apocalyptic without being zombies.
Well, no, but I'm just happen to be in a zombie post-apocalyptic thing. But this is
I think that's all of them. Zombies. You have Mad Max and then you have zombie. That's about all you seem to have with post-apocalyptic.
No, there's some more.
Fallout. I mean,
yeah, I like Fallout.
They're all right. There's no universe quite like Star Wars, which is the frustration of it. The depth that it goes into, the good, the evil, the force, the shades of good and evil, guys that are, shady like Han Solo becoming heroes,
Yeah.
because they got that heroic streak in them and they get it brought out by good people.
Oh no, Star Wars is my favorite. Don't make no mistake.
So if you have a bunch of books that are as good as the original trilogy,
Yeah.
in my opinion, they haven't made them into movies.
Some of the books I think
They're just so
better.
much more in depth than any of the movies
Yeah.
could be. Now, the original trilogy is amazing. I like the prequels, okay. So the original 6 are good, but these books are so good. And it's like anything we were talking on our last podcast. If we had read the Lord of the Rings, if we had read, the Game of Thrones books, we would probably be here like bitching and moaning and jumping. We'd be so pissed off about Rings of Power right now.
Yeah.
All the nerds podcasts that I watch for Star Wars, they're all talking about the Rings of Power now, and they're jumping up and down and screaming about. I have no clue what they're talking about because I've never read the books.
I read something too that was really funny because it was the same thing as the Acolyte. Like they made Sauron into like kind of this good-looking guy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They're making him into an anti, like he's not an evil incarnate piece of crap, but
just like that
he's
Sith,
he was really good, but he was turned bad.
just like that sexy Sith. You
Yeah.
gotta have that sexy.
I
Sauron.
wonder if we're to see him walking out of a pond, with
Yeah.
his dingling going and
I'm like,
Gadriel staring at his naked body.
I'm like, hey, I haven't read the books. I'm in.
I have no clue, but see, I liked the first Rings of Power. I thought it was all right. I liked Wheel of Time better probably than the Rings of Power. But and it's not like Rings of Power. I went, man, I can't wait for season 2. So obviously, I know there's something that isn't necessarily great there. But for me, it wasn't like these people hate it. Like we hate the Acolyte. Like I hate the Acolyte. They hate Rings of Power.
Yeah.
So I know that they're really fucking it up. But with that being said, I don't know. So I'm going to watch it and I'm going to enjoy it. I know that the TV show Bad Monkey, I'm into it. I know it was based off a book. But I never read that book. So for me, that show is amazing. I enjoy every episode of it.
Yeah.
So they've been out in 4 episodes. I'm 3 episodes in. I think the 4th one came out yesterday, I believe.
Can't do any wrong.
Vince Vaughn, I start thinking about all the actors out there that I love to watch. From the very first time I saw Swingers, I was like, this guy is special.
Yeah.
The way he can just talk and talk and talk, and it's all funny, it's all move, and it all comes together.
Yes.
And then
brain works like 1/3 speed compared to mine.
I told you I watch the Pat McAfee show almost every day, and he just talks.
Yeah.
He just gets up there and he doesn't have a script. He just gets up there. Donald Trump gets up and just talks and talks and talks.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris has to bring her vice president along to do an interview. She can't talk. So
someone not going political, you should read what Donald Trump talks. Sometimes he shouldn't talk so much. He just rambles.
But he's entertaining.
Well, that is true.
He fills up arenas, and he doesn't have to bring in.
He rambles.
He doesn't have to bring in rap artists and top artists to come in and perform to fill up an arena. He can fill them up himself. I'm not a huge Trump fan. I will vote for him in this election.
Shocker.
I have no problem saying that because
shocker,
I would vote for just about anyone besides Kamala Harris. But in general,
Kamala's kind of hot. I don't know.
I don't.
There's something about her that
she hot if you like dimwits.
Doesn't matter.
Can't put 3 words together.
I have no idea.
Can't put a coherent thought together.
I have no idea if Jennifer Connelly is smart or not, but I think she's not.
She can read teleprompter better than Kamala Harris.
Okay. I'm all in.
Anyway, off the politics.
That's my.
What I'm saying is people that can get up and just talk and entertain people, that's what Vince Vaughn has.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he goes off. I mean, he said, I saw an interview with him. He was on the Pat McAfee show. Those two were, and they had a great interview. And he was saying, oh no, I followed the script mostly. There may be a few improvs here and there, but that's because they don't want to throw the screenwriters, the guys writing, the writers of the show. They don't want to throw them under the bus. But that guy's like, you can just watch. There's times where he goes off on his Vince Vaughn thing and starts talking rapidly, but I can also see he acts differently in the show a little bit. He's a little slowed down.
Yeah.
He's a little more methodical.
He's not as wedding crasher.
Yes, he's not like quite as verbose as he was, but I really enjoyed that show and I like those type of people. So I'm excited about Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Season 2 because I like the first one, but I didn't know there's anything screwed up with it. So all of you that I rip on Star Wars and how horrible and how they're so much better, the books are so much better. you can rip on me and say, well, you don't know anything. You're ignorant. You don't know this, this, and this, and they're doing this, this, and this.
That's one thing.
Have at it, because I'll fully admit that I don't.
That's one thing I give you a lot of credit. Like you put a lot out there, but you'll take a lot too, if you know.
Yeah.
So leave it in the comment.
I didn't. The final season of Game of Thrones, I thought it could have been done a lot better.
Yeah.
I think that they should have went down a different path, but I didn't. I don't know what happened in the books. I don't know what.
No one does.
Well,
You
no
did
one.
it.
That's right. That show, nobody knows what really happened because it was never written down until
No one
that.
ever will
That
until he
is
dies.
that is canon right there.
Yeah.
That is that they didn't go away from the book. Nobody. He hasn't finished writing that. But I was just like, okay, if that's what they want to do, I didn't
Yeah.
like it. But hey, okay.
I was in all the way to the very last episode. I'm like, that's it.
So let's get into Star Wars book that I
All right.
am reading, that
Let's
I'm
do it.
halfway through today. I looked at my thing today to see how much I had left, and I was
Okay.
exactly halfway through, about 8.5 hours into it. Outbound Flight.
Yeah. I'm in.
Talked about it last week, and it's only gotten better.
Oh, I'm so in.
So you know how George Seaboth in Heir to
Yeah.
the Empire, how he was crazy because he was a clone, and they can't
Yeah.
quite get them mentally right, you
Mhm.
know. So he was broken mentally a little
Yeah.
bit, and he was deteriorating to a certain it seemed like their brain function, and they would be a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
And they talked about that in that book. And he's not crazy in Outbound Flight. He's he's one of the main characters in Outbound Flight. Like, he is the main character. But right now Obi-Wan and Anakin are on the Outbound Flight with him until they get to the Outer Rim, where they're going to go in the unknown region. Then they're supposed to leave because they're keeping an eye on him and trying to figure out what's going on. So George Seaboth, in the Heir to the Empire books, he believes that Jedi are far superior to anyone else. He believes that Jedi should be leading people,
Yeah.
not trying to help them out or be stewards or guardians and stuff.
So he wants to
solving
make
problems.
Jedi great again.
Pretty much. There you go. He's the straight up, like, we should lead,
Yeah.
and we'll tell them what to do and what to think
Yeah.
type thing. Not to the Emperor Palpatine, who wants to manipulate and control, and he'll just torture and kill people. But he's real hardcore. Like,
Yeah.
think of a parent from the 60s and 70s and a parent nowadays.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll whoop your ass.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a good hard spanking and slap you upside the head from back then. Nowadays, it's like, go on a timeout, sit in your room with no TV for 5 minutes. That type of thing. How, like, Obi-Wan wants to work everything out and do stuff in the Jedi way, in a real calm, relaxing,
How
focus.
did that work out
George
with Anakin?
George is like, you do this and you do that. Fuck you, and I made my decision. I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah. We're now explicit for children as we post. Okay, go on. I hit the explicit button, but yes, I'm following you.
So anyway, George Seaboth is a great character, and you're sitting there just going, you can see all the hints of the dark side, but yet he's not dark. He thinks that this is the way, that the Jedi Order has gotten too vanilla, and they had certain people interpreted the Jedi codes that were written for all these years, right? That they're following, and they interpret them. He interprets them a different way, and that we should be leading people because we're just better.
Yeah.
We're better than these people.
He's probably right, because I'm
Well,
a Jedi lover.
I get it, but I'm more of a Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
Yoda,
I know,
Mace
you're big
Windu.
softy.
It's like you try to work things, because if you have the problem with people that when they get power, is they can't handle it. They don't know when to back off. They misuse, and they keep using more and more of it, and they like the feeling of using it. A Kathleen Kennedy gets put in charge of Lucasfilms after being an underling for a bunch of different directors and producing stuff, but not the main money producer, but somebody who's helping produce things and helping direct things.
Yeah.
And then she gets her job and she goes full psycho.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You got all these people that get a little bit of power, and then they want more, and then they, like, that's what politicians do.
Like me.
Politicians, you know what? Good people don't want to be politicians. Really good people do not want to go, I'm going to be a city council person, then I'm going to be a House of Representatives in my state, and then a Senate, and then I'm going to go to federal. And all they care about is getting to that next step.
Yeah.
Are they doing that because they care about their state and country? A few,
very few.
Most of them want power. Nancy Pelosi, all she cares about is controlling and manipulating. If you want to take the essence of what Emperor Palpatine is,
Yeah.
that's Nancy Pelosi.
Okay.
All right. Trump.
Yeah.
But Trump already had billions of dollars and everything. And do I think that he is not a narcissistic egomaniac? Yes. But if you relate these things to Star Wars,
Yeah.
Trump is more of a George Seabaugh type.
Okay.
You know, not necessarily he thinks he's smarter than everybody, although I think he does think that he's smarter than a lot of people, but he also really values the opinions of other smart people.
Yeah.
He brings them in and evaluates. He's very verbose and stuff, but not evil.
Yeah.
You become, when you have too much power, you become corrupted and you become evil.
Yoda said it best.
And all of us people out here like myself, I'm a fairly intelligent person. I can, you know,
Yeah. Humble brag.
I had a 142 IQ. I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. Now I'm older, so IQ
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, but I can absorb knowledge, retain it. I have a strong opinion. I have critical thinking skills. I want to
forms of Jedi fighting.
I do. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in politics. And that's what most of our people out there, the people that are going to Harvard and getting law degrees and then getting into Congress, their whole plan was to get to that point.
Yeah.
I personally think our Congress should be part-time.
Yeah.
And they should have to have other jobs like most states do.
Yeah.
Then they wouldn't be in Washington screwing everything up in the country over and over
Yeah.
again because they wouldn't have time to be screwing everything up. They'd have 6 months out of the year to screw things up, not a whole year. But anyway, we're getting real political today.
I know. For
I
some
don't
reason,
even know.
going political.
I don't want to go political, but you know what? When you compare some of these characters in the
Yeah.
books, you see correlates. Like
Mhm.
Nancy Pelosi has held on and stayed in power for how long? And she's evil and she manipulates everything behind the scenes like Sidious. So when you look at these people, you go, oh, that's what this person is. You
Yeah.
know, she would love to be in charge of the whole country. She would like to tell you what to do. Brad, you cannot go take a shit until 8 p.m. tonight.
Hey, tell her to get in line.
And if you do,
I have a
we're
bunch of other women.
we're gonna
telling
put
me
you
what
in a
to do.
jail cell with Bubba, and he's gonna bang you all night
Look.
long. Well, that might not be punishment for you.
I have so many women telling me what to do. She can get in line.
That's what I'm saying though. It's like I don't need somebody to tell me what to do. I do the right thing when nobody's looking.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I have high integrity. I care about the people that I love. I care about my clients. I care about my family. I care about everyone, but I don't want to be in charge of them.
Casey just said he cares about me, Mom.
I care about Brad. Brad is one of my friends.
That's a wrap. Thank you for the podcast. This whole podcast was a sham to get Casey to say that. Thank you and good night.
I care about Brad. He is a good person. And that's why if he was a piece of shit, I wouldn't care about it.
That's true.
I'd be like, oh, get the F out of here. I'm gonna do this myself. I have fun with Brad too.
Yeah.
I enjoy his company. So now that we're on the
Hope you feel that
Pat and
you're
Brad's
pushing
back.
me over the Spartan ledge or something.
outbound flight is so
Yeah.
good, and you have these characters that correlate into our lives, and
Yeah.
that's something. If you can like compare, that's something. If you don't think about it when you're reading books, and you go, man, I really hate this person, and you go, oh, they're just like this person. I love this person. Oh, they
Mhm.
kind of remind me of that. You can find these correlates,
Yeah.
you know, in the real world to these books, and you realize, oh, this was a really good writer who's taking
Yeah.
the real world and then making it into the sci-fi world.
Yeah.
And Timothy Zahn, amazing writer.
I love my Zahn.
Great sci-fi writer, but that's because he's using the real world. He develops these characters. Thrawn he's in this. How much did you read any of the Thrawn Ascendancy books or anything?
I read the first one.
Okay, so this Thrawn is the young Thrawn. He's in charge of the Springhawk,
Yeah.
which is a smaller battle vessel. It's not later on when he's in charge of a bigger one in the Chiss Ascendancy before he leaves and comes to and works for Sidious and.
Mm-hmm.
And becomes the Grand Admiral, an Admiral and Grand Admiral in the Empire. And it's great because this whole book, he's learning about the Republic.
Oh, yeah.
He's gaining information from these people that
You know how
that
much
were
I love
traitors.
my Thrawn.
Oh, dude, Thrawn. And you can just see it all. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And he's a real rebel inside the Chiss Ascendancy because the Chiss Ascendancy. So let's say we're in the United States.
Mhm.
And let's say Canada decided to start bombing Mexico.
Yeah.
And it was attacking Mexico and trying to overtake Mexico.
Yeah.
We would stop them, right?
You would hope.
Yeah, we would probably stop them.
Easily.
That's what the United States, we interfere in everybody's shit,
Yeah.
which we shouldn't. I'm not a big fan of it, but we go and
We
interfere.
do.
But if it was like right next to us,
Yeah.
We sure the hell would.
Yeah.
The Chiss Ascendi's like, if you don't attack us, we ain't attacking you.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can go slaughter millions of people.
Yeah.
As long as you don't slaughter any of ours,
We're good.
we don't care.
Yeah.
Thrawn's like, but they're gonna eventually get strong enough to slaughter us, and they're horrible people. Let's fucking preemptively take them out. Let's help these people that they're slaughtering that can't fight against them, and let's fight against them now before they're too powerful, right?
I love my Thrawn.
And the Chiss Ascendancy is not believing that. That's a core tenet of theirs is not to interfere, right? Unless somebody fucks with them in their space, right? And they won't go and take over a planet. Like if there's an unclaimed world, they'll go and they even just touch on that in this book, that they'll occupy, they'll observe it for quite a while, and then they'll occupy it, and then it'll become part of the Chiss Ascendancy. But they won't go take over another world from another, autonomous group of people or beings, So this book is so good. So you got Thrawn, you got George Seaboth. Right now, Obi-Wan and Anakin. And Anakin really likes George Seaboth.
Yes.
He likes George. I think he would be like, I think I would like to be Padawan to George. If he had the choice, probably would. He knows Obi-Wan and stuff, but he's pushing. He's a 14-year-old, and he's pushing hard back against Obi-Well. They're like buttonheads, just like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon did, because Obi-Wan is so strict and by the rules. Yeah. But as he gets older, he starts seeing, you don't have to be. Yeah. You want to do things the right way and by the code and by the Jedi way, but there's some gray areas.
Oh yeah.
Anakin is like, by the rules. Yeah. This is right. This is wrong. And you see that later on.
He absolutes.
That's it. And so does George Seaboth. And so you can see him agreeing.
Yeah.
Often, like he wants to just like go, like it was. You feel it. Yeah. He doesn't say it, but you feel it. He really respects George Seaboth. So this book is really excellent. Halfway through it right now.
Yeah.
I'll give like a full, maybe next week I'll be fully done with it, hopefully. I still had 8 hours, but I got a lot of work to do outside this weekend, so I will be listening to it. So hopefully I will get it done. I got another book that's 5 hours long I got to listen to. So, but when I'm completed with it, I'm going to give just a whole general breakdown of it, because I want people to read these books, because then you will get invigorated. If you watched Acolyte and you thought it was even halfway decent, you read one of these books, you're going to realize, why aren't they making this stuff?
Yes.
And the Acolyte was so poorly written and was so derogatory towards the Jedi and made the Sith seem like they're okay. Guess what? They're not. They're not. Darth Sidious is not good.
Yeah.
There's just no Darth, not good. He does a lot. He slaughters younglings. Let's just be honest here. Just think, anytime you like Darth Vader a lot, think about him slaughtering a preschool. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
If you think he's great, if you're a huge Darth Vader fan, not that I'm not a Darth Vader fan. I love Darth Vader and his character and his redemption.
Yep.
Where he goes from Jedi to Sith, and then Luke redeems him. It's a great character arc, but he's the bad guy. He's not the good guy. He slaughtered a preschool of kids. Let's be real. In Hollywood, they don't seem to understand the right the rings of power, making Sauron into, he was a really good guy. It's just circumstances made him a bad guy. Well, Harvey Weinstein, raped and molested and did stuff to women and used his influence for quid pro quo for years, where Lindsay Headland was his assistant, and did all this stuff. And it was just circumstances, right? It's not that bad, right? No, it is.
Are we comparing Darth Vader to Harry Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, bad people are bad people. And to say that bad people are not bad people, that they were turned that way.
Yeah.
Okay. He was turned by Sidious. Sidious had a plan from it, in which you get into this. So Darth Sidious had this all planned out. Remember, he has visions of the future too.
Yeah.
If you watch the movies, anything about Darth Sidious, he sees the future, right? And he plans everything out, right? He did not know that Obi-Wan and Anakin were on the outbound flight. And he was informed by one of his acolytes, one of his people, that they were, and I want to let you know there's 3 more Jedi. And he goes, it's probably the apprentice that's been made into a Jedi of George Seaboth. And then he goes, yes, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin, he got like pissed. And he was like, all right, they need to be removed there because Darth Sidious has a plan to destroy the outbound flight and kill all the Jedi that are on it. And because he finds George Seaboth to be a threat to him. So he's not happy. So he's like, you need to figure out a way to get him off there.
I
And then
love
he
all
goes,
that.
I think I have a way to get him off.
Yeah.
But he did not know because he's been planning out Anakin becoming Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So he's manipulating him behind the scenes, and he sees his weaknesses and goes in. And it all comes down to integrity. You're not going to corrupt Obi-Wan Kenobi,
No.
but Anakin's able to be corrupted because of what's happened in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And Sidious manipulates it. But saying that this is a good guy or that Sauron is a good guy and it's just circumstances, we could all be turned to the dark side.
Yeah.
Maybe you could. I'm not going to go kill a room full of preschool students.
Well,
I don't care what you do to me. I'll be like, kill me. Take a knife, stab me with it, slit my throat. Burn me alive. I am not killing any kids.
depends on the kids.
No,
I'm
even if I hate them.
Teasing. Kind of.
So, anyway, we talked about a lot of stuff that
we are.
And all right, we're doing all right.
We are.
Good. 22 minutes to talk about senior fitness.
Real quick, there's a comic book I got to give you. I saw it in an online illegally. Let's not spread that around, Mom. Where it's like a what if, and it's Darth Vader, Anakin beats Obi-Wan on that Vulcan planet, that volcano planet.
Oh, really?
And then, so he doesn't have the armor, and it's about how he tries to kill Insidious and how like he ends up taking out Insidious and ruling the Empire as Anakin without the armor. It's really good.
I probably like it, but then whenever we get like the what if shows in Marvel and stuff,
Yeah.
I have a hard time with them because I'm like, it's kind of cool, but I'm like, but it's not. It's just that didn't happen.
Wow, this is pretty cool.
So like I'm very realist, you know, like I enjoy the idea. What if this happened? Great. But like people have been trying to get me to read what ifs books.
I'll just spoil it to you real quick. So the moment he sticks the lightsaber through Anakin's heart, Obi-Wan's heart, thank you. Every last bit of good died within him. He turned so evil that Insidious was
But Amidala was still there.
No, she died.
No, she was still alive on Mustafar.
Well, not in this one.
Oh.
Or he doesn't know it.
She's on the ship. Obi-Wan goes and jumps on the ship, and then they take off.
But they battle. So the last time he saw her, she was
so she leaves.
Yeah. And so
all right.
As soon as he radios Insidious and says, I killed Anakin, and like here's his head. Like Insidious is like, good. And then was a little taken aback because he thought, I gotta curb this guy's power. And Anakin was just totally like death, just wiping out everything and getting really powerful. And Sidious is like, I got to figure out some way to calm him down. And he takes him out.
He was the chosen one.
In this horrific battle.
But Anakin, you're the chosen one.
Yeah, it was like a whole comic of just him battling.
That's a pretty good Obi-Wan voice.
That was really good.
That wasn't bad. I never tried it before.
But one full comic was dedicated to the fight between, like, how Insidious took out Yoda? Well, Anakin just was wailing on him. Insidious is just trying everything he could to throw all their like a Sith and acolytes, and Anakin's just so good. The best story ever. Anyways,
that actually sounds good, but here's my problem with that. So I started looking for Amidala's still alive. Why would he turn completely dark because he killed Obi-Wan? When everything is about Amidala, and then she's pregnant. I mean, that's what to live for. That's the light. What eventually turned him back.
I don't remember. I don't know if
Luke turned him back.
If he thought that she died or that, because remember, Insidious said Amidala died.
That was Mark S. Thompson's Obi-Wan voice because I'm reading that book and he does, the voices.
Yeah.
So.
And so I don't know if that's it or what, but he thought that she was dead. So he was just killing his best friend, his father figure, all of that in cold blood when they were fighting. And he like looked him in the eyes, and like Obi-Wan is there helpless, begging him not to do it, that they're still good at him. And he just through the heart.
Yeah. Well,
than
let's see.
the extinguished.
Love Obi-Wan, but if you're willing to kill a bunch of younglings,
Yeah.
probably Obi-Wan's going to be pretty easy to kill too.
That is true.
You know,
Anyway,
so
great comic.
because he had a lot of spite and like
Yeah.
you can even see it in this book. There's stuff he thinks
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is like to this, and he thinks
Mhm.
like his opinion is better than Obi-Wan's, but he listens to Obi-Wan because he's his master. But still, all right. So we're gonna talk a little senior fitness. I like to think of questions that people might, or topics that people might be interested in when it comes to fitness. I love just talking. We can sit and just talk Star Wars and books and theories and all this stuff all day long.
And we do.
But a lot of people watch the show to talk fitness.
Yeah, Barbara, this is for you.
And so this week I train several people that are over 70 years old, and I had a new person start or come in and meet with me this week, and she's starting next week. And and so she's like 75, but I have some other people that are over 70. I've trained people in their 80s, but I train a lot of people 50s, 60s. There's people I train that are probably close to my age, but didn't take care of themselves throughout their whole life quite as well.
I see why you're looking at me.
Well, Brad was on that path. Brad's done a lot of good, not recently, but he did, like really consistently train for a long time and gotten much.
Kept it off.
Yeah, but you're skinny fat right now.
Yeah.
You haven't been banging the weights and doing the things that you should be doing. But we're gonna fix that. We're gonna remedy that soon,
though, bro.
You're not 300 something pounds now.
Yeah,
he does a lot of curls. He does curls every workout. And trust me, I know. I see him on video camera.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be like,
I'm just gonna work out naked.
Oh,
so
Brad. Yeah, I probably.
He said, "What's that bright light?" Oh,
I'd be like,
shirtless.
Give me my keys. I don't want somebody sitting on something that your ass cheeks and balls were laying on.
Okay.
But in general, senior fitness is anyone who's over 65, but anyone who maybe is 55, who's not lived a healthy lifestyle. They have a lot of medical issues. They've had a heart attack, whatever, if you consider yourself a senior, you're probably a senior, and you could be over 50 years old and have that issue. So, but I'm really categorizing people over 65. And so what I like to relate to people is you can make a lot of progress in your body, no matter what age you are, if you are still somewhat healthy and you want to make a change. Now, does that mean that if you're 75 and you've had knee surgery and hip replacement, and you had a heart attack, that you're going to walk around with a six-pack and be able to squat 300 pounds? No. But you can make great improvements in your body and your health and extend your life and improve your quality of life.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say quality of life. Now, what is quality of life? It's just like living a good, healthy life. Maybe right now you're 60. Let's say you're 68 years old. Let's just take a random number. I have no 68-year-old clients, so I'm not talking about anyone. And every morning you get up and you have a counter full of pills you got to take.
And your neck
for cholesterol, for your heart, for your joints, for osteoporosis, and you got everything. You have blood pressure, all this stuff, right? And you're taking this because you're just not living healthy. You're eating whatever you want. You're not doing anything for fitness, and you've literally gave up the ghost of what you're doing. And you decide
out of breath, checking the mail.
That's right, or all of these different things that could be happening. So, could you change that? If you have it up here, you can still change that at 68 years old. So, I've had many people come in and start training, and all of a sudden that counter full of medicine gets reduced by 25%, reduced by 50%. Maybe the doctor's still like, you need to take statins or you need to take this because of this. And it's like, I'm not going to sit there and question doctors and question those things. It's like, fine. But, when they're giving them cholesterol medication and they lost like 40 pounds of fat, and they are sitting there able to run or do Stairmaster or do these things, and their fitness levels through the roof compared to what they were. And as long as their blood pressure is in a good zone, great. You can take those things. I'm talking about reducing the amount or getting rid of. I had people completely get off medication in the past too. You can do these things at an older age. So if you're 65 and over, if you're 60 and over, and you feel you're a senior and you really want to get in shape, think about your quality of life. Think about as you age right now. Brad and I are both 51. I expect to be able to do everything I can do at 51 to 61. Maybe I'll do 20 less pounds on my squat, or something. Who knows? Maybe I'll start taking TRT and I'll be doing 20 pounds more on my squat. I don't know yet.
Make
We'll
a
see in
little
10
trip to
years.
Guadalajara.
Yeah. Well, my doctor may finally say, oh, your testosterone level is no longer too high. We can give you TRT. But whatever it is,
Yeah.
10 years from now, I'm going to be a little different, but I'm not going to be significantly different. And we were talking about just a little while ago, talking about how people are aging nowadays.
Mhm.
So anti-aging is a big deal. So all these stars that we see that are 50, 60 years old, but they look like they're in their 30s or early 40s, it's because they're living healthy lifestyle. Yes, there's plastic surgery. Maybe they're getting Botox. They're having microdermal, whatever they call it, where they laser their face and get rid, cause collagen to build up and the wrinkles go away. They're doing a lot of these things. They're also taking TRT. They're taking growth hormone. They're doing stuff to keep their body young. Is that bad? No.
Yeah.
Not if you're doing it to keep yourself where you're at. If you're not doing it, like if you're taking TRT and you're already like benching 300 and squatting 5 and deadlifting 6, and you're taking TRT, you probably don't need to do that. If you're 30 years old and you're taking steroids, if you're 25 years old and take steroids, you don't need to be doing that. You shouldn't. It's going to be counterproductive for your health as you get older. But if that's what you're doing, great. But as you're older, your levels go down so much, you bump them up all of a sudden. Then all of a sudden you're looking less like Archie Bunker and you're looking more like Brad Pitt. Not you.
Harry.
Not you. Not this guy's not look like Brad Pitt. He thinks he does, but he doesn't.
That was the goal. I said I want to make
Brad Pitt probably comes up to your chest.
That's true.
He is not a big guy. What's funny? Have you ever been around any Hollywood people?
Yeah, they're tiny.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is not big. He was really muscular, but he's like 5'10" at the tallest.
Yeah.
They listed him at 5'11", I think. He's not 5'11". I shook his hand. I met him twice.
Yeah.
I met him when he was running for governor, and I met him when they opened Planet Hollywood up in Reno.
In his IMDb page, they were like, he's 6'2".
Jean-Claude Van Damme is not 6 foot tall.
No.
He's like 5'9", 5'10". Yeah. The only one that was really tall was Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
He is actually, but he's also fat.
Vince Vaughn is 6'5".
Vince Vaughn is legitimately tall.
Yeah.
But most of these guys like Glenn Powell, Tom Cruise, all the guys, Brad Pitt, all this Bradley Cooper, they're all well under 6 foot tall, and so you just got a lot of height on them.
That's right.
They may be prettier than you.
Can't
bopping them like a field mice.
Can't teach height.
So the bottom line is when you're trying to stay healthy and young, there's things you can do, but all those people, whether it's Pilates or yoga or weight training, or they like to run, whatever it is, they're working out, they're eating really healthy most of the time. I'm not saying they all eat perfectly all the time. I do not. But they're all doing all these things to stay young, and you can do it too. And if you choose to do it, you could be 65 and transform your body and life within the next year. You can get off medications. You can get stronger. You can build muscle. You can build muscle when you're older. Is it hard? Yes. You have to work much harder every 5 years you get older. It's just an increment harder to build the muscle, but you can do it. So I have people all the time that come in and they're in their 40s and 50s and they haven't ever worked out before in their entire life, or they haven't since high school athletics, or they had a weightlifting class in college and they haven't really worked out since then. They've never been on a real program with a real trainer pushing them to get results, and they get results. They build muscle, they lose fat. So what's the benefit of building muscle when you're 65 years old? There's a real benefit if you just worked out your whole life and kept the muscle on you.
Bone density.
I'm liking Brad even more as the podcast is going on. Although he wants to bang Kamala Harris, but besides that,
there's something that I think that's a little attractive.
Well, so did Willie Brown and Montel Williams too.
Hey,
I'm sure many other men too. In general, you got bone density. So that's what Brad was talking about when he said bone density. Bone density is directly related to muscle density. If you don't have any muscle on your body, your bone density is going to go down. It's just the bottom line. That's how it is. So many people that I have that are older coming, I got osteoporosis. It's because, number one, a lot of people don't eat very healthy, but also if you don't do weight training, you're gonna age faster. You're gonna slip and fall in the bathtub and shatter your hip into 100 pieces. If you had a lot of muscle and stronger bone density, you would fall and hit just like I would, and I would not shatter my hip. Because I have strong hips, because I can squat a lot, deadlift a lot, lunge a lot, push the tank a lot.
Yep.
I can do all these things because I train to do them and I keep doing them. You can start to build your bone density back if you can build muscle mass throughout your body. And so many people come in and they can't even do a full squat.
Yeah.
Most people come in who are over 50 years old and they can't do a full squat. They go squat and they will do they get down to there.
Yeah.
Like
For
a
those
full
only
squat would be
moving-
me sitting in the chair right now. It would be
He is
like right
only
here.
moving a few inches.
Yeah. So, and that's as far as they can go. And we have to build that up.
Yep.
And I have to build them up doing shorter ranges of motion and slowly build up, using a ball up against the wall and using benches or box squats. So they have something to land on and then get that range of motion. There's a lot of different ways. And there's other exercises you can do to help build up the strength in the hips and the legs too, with bands and those type of things. But you can do it. Do not give up because you are old and aging. You can slow down the process. They call it anti-aging, but it's really just slowing down the aging process. I'm aging. My thing's gray.
Oh, I'm aging.
I gain fat easier than I ever have before, and it's harder to lose it. I can't build muscles fast. When I take care of my granddaughter for 10 or 12 hours, babysitting wears me out emotionally and mentally. It wasn't like when I was younger raising kids. I raised my two kids pretty much on my own, and now I have my granddaughter and I have her for 10 hours, and I'm like, I need a break. Good Lord. Because I'm getting older. It's just things are harder.
Is she crawling yet?
She just started crawling this week.
Oh, that's when it's really fun.
Yeah, she's not crawling super fast yet, but she's crawling fast enough to where you're like, all right, I can't just let you on the couch I can't put you on your back on the couch. She'll be off the couch on her head before you know it. Because she likes to just get to the edge, and she doesn't know how to throw her feet over the edge. It's like, let me crawl down and fall right on the top of my head. So she's within 2 or 3 months she'll be walking, because we already hold her hands, and she takes steps, and she's on her tippy toes, but if she can get her heels on the ground, she is almost like she moves her feet like she's
now
walking.
When you do your 10-hour babysitting, that's really
then I'm really gonna be, but it's not that I'm like, oh my God, I'm breathing heavy, I'm tired. I'm just like mentally fatigued. I don't have the energy I had when I was 31 and 41. I'm going, man, could I be a parent right now? Yes, but it would probably take years off my life.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Try having an autistic 8-year-old at your age.
Yeah. Poor Brad. You got to start when you're young, people.
I know.
Do not wait like this guy. Woo. I'm telling you what, I have 20 now. I have grandkid, but I do get to hand her off. When my daughter gets home from work, I go, all right, there you go. I'm going to sleep. I got to be up at 5 a.m. to train clients. But the thing is as you get older, you don't have the capacity you had when you were younger, but you can still have a lot of capacity. I can still raise a kid if I had to.
Yeah.
There's some people that are 51 that cannot raise a kid.
No.
If you were 320 pounds right now.
No way.
Oh, let's say you never came and saw me and you just kept gaining more weight and gaining more weight. Would you be able to keep up with your kid?
No.
I
wouldn't be able to keep up with a slug.
Yeah.
I had a bad knee that was getting worse because of the weight gain.
Yeah. I mean, so these are the things that being healthy and fit can fix and help.
Yeah.
And they increase your quality of life, and you're able to do things. I'll be able to play with my unless I have some type of major accident or, hell, I could have a heart attack too. Healthy, fit people can have heart attacks. Yeah. I mean, there could be a defect in there or something could wear out. I would
be worried if Kathleen Kennedy signs another 10-year contract. That would be.
I might have a
heart attack.
I might have an aneurysm.
Yeah.
If that happens, I mean, don't distract me.
Yeah.
I start going down this path of like,
we talked about you and having heart attacks. I'm like, I know one thing that might cause this.
The blood pressure will certainly go up. I'll tell you that. The thing that causes me to cuss the most is screwing up Star Wars. So the quality of life is a big aspect of it, and preventative injuries. Mm-hmm. So a lot of older people, geriatric, wherever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You break things really easy because you don't have the muscle density and the bone density that goes along with it. Also, heart issues. When you're overweight, think about the strain you're putting on your body. And then as you age and everything naturally wants to break down. My organs aren't working. I guarantee you not working as good as they used to. Yeah. But they work better than yours that aren't doing anything, is sitting on the couch and eating hamburgers every night and pizza, and you weigh 70 pounds more than you should weigh. Yeah, my stuff's working better than yours. My joints are working better. I'm not putting stress on my hips and my knees that I was. So Do you want to play with your grandkids? Do you want to play with your great grandkids? That's my next thing.
Yeah.
I mean, before you know it, I'm going to have great time flies. I'm going to be an 80-year-old man and I'm going to have, great grandkids. I'd love to be able to pick them up and hold them and play with them.
I'll be in my late 60s when my kids get out of high school.
Yeah. So
I gotta stay in shape.
How old's your wife?
She is 47. We had to wait until she wanted to wait until after medical school.
Yeah. I tell you, more power to you, man. I would not. I do not want to have an autistic 8-year-old right now. So
No.
I never even really thought about that. You're my age, and you have a daughter too. It's not autistic, but I mean, you got a lot on your plate. I mean, like I said, I can hand off my granddaughter, and then there's other people that help babysit.
I can hand off my son to you. Be like, no, it's got to be 12 before you can bring him in.
Yeah. Partly because I don't know how much energy I have at the end of the day for that. So as you get older, don't think that you can't do these things. Just because you're a senior or people consider you a senior, don't think that you can't get in shape and get healthy. You can be a 75-year-old person and come in and say, I want to improve myself, and you can still improve yourself. No doubt about it. You got to eat right. You got to work out hard. You got to be on a structured plan, and you got to ease into it. When you're older, you just don't I don't do the stuff that I did when I was 31. I do a lot of things I did when I do the stuff that I did when I was in 31, but I don't do it nearly as heavy. I used to lift like a maniac back then, and I would push my body to the limit all the time. And I don't do that. I've learned to moderate. And so, instead of doing 300-pound power squats, I do 155 to 175 or 185-pound power squats. I don't try to bench 315 anymore. I try to bench, maybe get 8 reps at 205, something like that. I just don't lift as heavy and I don't go as hard as I did, but I still do the same stuff, and I'm still capable of doing the same stuff. I can go out and run a half marathon race for Spartan Race and complete it. Am I going to complete it as fast as I could when I was younger? No. Guess what? You can do that too. Now, it doesn't mean you can go out and complete a Spartan race, but you can do similar exercises, like maybe with no weight. Maybe you're doing air squats, but you're not doing full range of motion, and we get you to doing full range of motion.
Can I just say something before you go? One of the things I just want to make sure that you mention on this podcast is your success rate with working with the senior crowd. Like I've seen, I won't mention any of your clients' name, but you have someone who is probably older than me and a lot less shape do the Spartan race, the 5K. I've seen plenty of older clients that you do like work out almost at my level sometimes. Yes, it happens.
Yeah.
So you have a very good success rate of
making
people healthier.
And that's the next step I was getting to is like, you can't necessarily do what you could do when you were young. And maybe if you trained with me for the last 20 something years. Actually, I think the longest client that I have right now is 13 years has been with me, but she's also awesome. Yeah. She is really good at stuff. Like she's doing group and stuff, Karen.
Yep.
She's older than us.
Yeah.
And she's up there. Like she beats Matt at things.
I know.
Or keeps up with them. And he's,
yep.
3 years younger than her, 3 or 4 years younger than her. And, a man and a lot more muscle on his body, and she can do great things. So it's all about like, if you're with me the longer you're with me, the better you're going to get usually, unless you have some type of setback injury wise or health wise. But it's all about taking incremental steps. You got to go slow. You can't go fast. A lot of my senior clients come in and we do half-hour sessions to start out with. So we do a half hour, and it's a lot for them. A half hour doing it, working out the right way is a lot. And then after a month, 6 weeks, we go, all right, let's switch it up and let's get you in here for a full session. And then because they're capable of doing more, because we built them up to that point. Maybe they're really out of shape and it took 2 or 3 months to get them up to doing full sessions. But you're capable of doing it. If you give up, you're just going to give up and you're going to die sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know the whole, I've seen this happen with a lot of people. I've known a lot of people. They retire from their job after 30 years.
And then they immediately die.
Within a year, they're dead.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen so many times. It can't just be, I've never looked into statistics, but it can't be an anomaly. It can't be me. I just see people retired now. They're older.
Yeah.
They're 65, 68, whatever. But I had a guy who was training with me, really good shape, retired, moved to Wyoming, dead in 6 months. And I talked to him 3 months after he'd moved there. And he goes, well, I go out for walks every day, but I'm not lifting weights or doing anything. I'm like, you got to get back on it. Come on, man. Something just broke. Something just gave up inside. If you give up, you're going to die. And you'll die much sooner. Don't give up. If you're 65 and you feel unhealthy and you're taking a lot of pills, give me a call. 916-871-8422. RosevilleSC.com. We will put it up at the end of the show. But Brad's doing this because it'll be down at the bottom. Instagram, Roseville Strength and Conditioning. And so one other thing I want to talk about, if you are a beginner and you're like, oh, well, I can't, let's say you're on a fixed income and you're a senior. Let's say you're on Social Security. And you're like, I can't spend $85 an hour or $42.50 an hour to come see you for a half hour. Online training costs this much. I don't have it in my budget.
Yeah.
I used to sell an beginning training program on one of those, Vimeo, I think. I used to sell it. And then about sometime in the last year, I put it on my YouTube channel for Roseville Strength and Conditioning. And just today, I totally thought it popped into my head because I was training someone. I'm like, you know what you could do? Just all the stuff we're doing, because I was just helping somebody out who was a friend. So I was helping them out, and they don't live too close by. So I was like, I have a beginning training program, and it's on my YouTube, and I never think about it. And because I wouldn't upload it to YouTube, it's 36 minutes long. It gives you a ton of information, and it actually gives you the beginning workouts that I would probably give you if you came in and worked with me. So it may help you for 6 weeks to 2 months to 3 months, depending on how fit you are. But if you're a senior and you can do it, anybody can do it. So just go to the YouTube and type in Roseville Strength and Conditioning, and then you'll see. If you go directly to my page, you'll see a lot of like video. I think the most thing I have on there is like little video recommendations. Yeah. But if you see beginning workout and you click on it, it's 36 minutes long.
I could put it in the show notes.
Yeah. So you can just go to that, and it's a beginning workout. And I give you a bunch of information before I even do stuff. And I talk about a lot of the stuff I've talked about on here. But it's a lot of information, but it gives you the workouts. I demonstrate the workouts. It says on the screen how many sets you should do and how many reps roughly you should do, or how many minutes you should do of something. I demonstrate stretches, everything. So if you are somebody who goes, I don't have the budget to work with a trainer, and I always say, well, what are you spending your money on?
Cookies.
Guess what? There's a lot of stuff you're spending your money on that aren't benefiting you. If you spend your money on coming in and seeing a trainer, it'd be well worth the money compared to some of the other stuff you're spending your money on. If you're getting Starbucks coffee every day or 2 times a day, 30 days, $10, $13 a day you're spending on coffee. I don't know. I don't go to Starbucks, but I'm guessing it's $5 or $6 a coffee at least.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're like Casey and you like vaping.
I do not vape. I'm just like talking a lot. I don't talk this much except for on the podcast.
Yeah.
When I'm drinking, you're supposed to keep talking.
No, I like
instead of interrupting me. You're always interrupting me. Like every time I was talking about senior fitness, you kept throwing stuff in there, and I'd be like, where was I at?
Right,
but if you're doing, we do have to wrap it up. But if you're doing, if you need that help, Roseville Strength and Conditioning YouTube page, beginning workout, you can get started for free. And then if you get to that point and you think about, like I was saying before I started coughing, if you spend $10 on coffee, or $20 or $30 on fast food a day and add that 30 days, then you go, well, how much would it be to train with Casey 2 times a week for 4 weeks?
First of all, you are priceless. Okay.
You know what? A lot of my clients very much value coming and seeing me, and they spend money. They'll cut other things out of their budget to come see me, which, hey, it's your budget. You decide how you want to spend your money. But I'm telling you, it's way more worth it than buying crap.
Cable to keep you in my life.
Yeah. So.
And you make me cry.
I know.
During workouts.
Yeah. So you can do it for free with that if you follow that link that Brad's going to put in the
show
notes. So I was bad this week. I did not look at YouTube, and I I did not make an Instagram post. I will try to remember to make an Instagram post this
You're
week
slipping.
on the do or do not page, because I got out of the habit of doing those things because you were gone for so long.
Well, you
And
know,
so now I forget that I even have an Instagram page for Do or Do Not podcast.
yeah, you got to be on there all the time.
So I will try to remember that.
Or Matt made a comment, and then like we responded like a year and a month later.
So
Sorry, Matt.
anyway, so that's the podcast for today. We'll be back next week and we'll hit on some other stuff, but definitely follow that link. And if you need anything, send me a message on rosevillesc.com and or the Instagram page. I am on that. If you send me a message on the Roseville Strength and Conditioning Instagram
He'll
page
get back to you.
or
before
the Do or
2020.
Do Not podcast Instagram page, I will get back to you. If you want,
Maybe.
you know what, too? If you have any topics you want us to talk about, Star Wars wise, fitness wise, Star Trek wise, for this guy right here.
Post-apocalyptic.
No, we're
novels,
not talking that
comic
for
books.
shit. You have to both actually somewhat like it. That's why I asked you about Bad Monkey before we started today. Because if you'd been watching, I said let's talk about it, but you haven't really watched it.
No.
So maybe in a few weeks we'll talk about Bad Monkey. All right, that's it. We're out.
Woohoo!